Oh, hold
All right, go on ahead, Dan.
Good morning, everyone. Dan Bates, President and CEO of Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce. And we are thrilled you could join us today for another interesting discussion on coffee and conversations. Today, our guest speaker, Rebecca, is going to introduce herself in just a little bit, but she is the Interim Executive Director for BCW Workforce. And she's going to tell us about the WIB. And most of you probably don't know what the WIB is, so you're going to find out. And you're going to find all of the exciting programs they have and data and advocacy for both employers and employees. So the protocol today is if you're on Zoom, you can ask questions of the speaker during the presentation. Those of you who are on Facebook Live, type your questions in and Tiffany will repeat them to the speaker so we can get those answered. And so that's kind of, we're going to get started. So you know who I am. We're going to find out who all of you are. Laura?
Hi, everyone. I'm Laura Merrill with the Greater Hamilton Chamber. We'll just go around, tell me your name and what company you're with. Chris, we will start with you.
Chris Cannell with the Hamilton City Schools.
Jessica.
Hello, I'm Jessica Dean. I'm with Easter Seals, and I'm here with both Jill Cates and Becky Ehling. So thank you for having me.
Oh, glad to have you with us today. Jill.
Jill Cates with Easter Seals Career Connection. And yes, I'm part of this whole team too with Jessica and Becky.
Glad you could be with us. Sandy.
Good morning, Sandy Kusnov with Frank's Glass.
Tiffany.
I'm Tiffany and Tiffany Grubb, and I am with the Greater Hamilton Chamber.
All right, Becky, you'd like to take it away.
I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Becky Ehling. I am the Interim Executive Director for the BCW Workforce, which is Butler, Claremont, and Warren counties. So it's a 3-county consortium for the workforce. Today, we're going to talk to you about what is a Workforce Investment Board or Workforce Development Board, or maybe you hear it's called WIB if you're in our area. And then towards the end of my presentation, Jessica has a presentation on our pre-apprenticeship grant and what great things have happened with that. So start out, I will share my screen. All right, maybe, there we go. So Workforce Investment Board or Workforce Development Board, just a little history there. Back in the day when we was called WIOA, Workforce Investment Act, it was a Workforce Investment Board. In 2014, it got changed to a Workforce Development Board through what is called WIOA, Workforce Investment and Opportunity Act. So you can hear, that's why you hear that distinction in between the two, but regardless, we're still a development board or a workforce for workforce. So the workforce system serves businesses, employers, workforce residents, and job seekers. We have different, and I'm going to go through the PowerPoint of how we affect businesses, how we can help employees, job seekers. Maybe it's the first time you've ever interviewed. We can help you with that. So we're going to go through this. And if I seem a little tame, it's because I'm used to standing up to present. Sitting down kind of holds me down a little bit. So in the area of Ohio, workforce development boards are across the United States. They're everywhere. In Ohio, we have 20 of them. And as you can see from this graph, we're area 12 down towards the bottom in the blue. And then area 13 is our regional partner, and that's Jason Ashbrook from Hamilton County. But you'll see they range in various size. We have like 5 different counties out there that is just a single, or workforce development boards that's just a single county. We have 3, you see a lot of them, 3, 4, 5. And then you've got area 7, which has 43 counties under them. So this is a little bit of the structure on how the funding comes down to us and where we are in the chain. So of course, Department of Labor, the DOL, is where we get our funding from. And it gets fed from the federal government to the state government, to the governor, and Ohio Department of Job and Family Services, or Ohio Workforce Development Board. So it gets fed down to them. We have a state workforce development board and staff that work in conjunction with the governor and ODJFS. From there, it gets fed down to our workforce board, our WIB. We have 3 counties, so we have 3 chief elected officials who appoint the board members. They have to okay the board members. From there, the board members have a staff. Currently, we have 2 on staff. I have an operations assistant and me. And then we have board committees. We have 5 different board committees that we work for, trying to do the good. At this level, we're the strategic planners. We deal with the funding, we deal with the strategies, we deal with everything in that realm. We hand it off to the Ohio Means Jobs. Each county has their own, Butler, Claremont, Warren, and they do the actual work per se. We're handing them the strategy and the vision of the board and the money to do it. And it's up to them to go out and reach out for everybody. So here's another way of looking at what we do. Again, at the strategic level, we develop and coordinate workforce strategies and policies. We provide funding and resources to support our system, improve job quality of access. And now's when we start handing it off to like the OMJs, and they provide employment services or provide education and training, offer supportive services, and support employers' HR needs. So diving a little bit deeper into what we do. The job seeker. How can we help a job seeker? A job seeker with resume preparation. Maybe it's somebody going back into the workforce and they haven't done a resume in years and need to find out how to do the most catchy resume so that you can get noticed. Or you've never done a resume at all. You're a youth and you've never done one. So they can help you with that. Job searches, we help you with that. We have a resource room at every Ohio Means Job Center. And you can go in and you can work on the computer if you don't have access to a computer. Excuse me, you can make copies of your resume, whatever you need. We have veterans assistants and they take priority. We'll let you know. You walk into an OMJ center and you tell them that you're a veteran, you get a priority service. Family support services, assistance with individuals with disabilities. So we have partners with Ohio OOD and they help with the disabled abilities. Disabled individuals, interview assistants. I mean, what's more scary than actually going to the interview, right? And if you've never done an interview, then we have people that will sit and walk you through it and help you get to where you need to be. Emerging workforce, we'll talk about them here in a minute, and then career training. So that's a little bit of like the job seekers can get from us. Job and career solutions. So we know, we have a list of the Ohio top jobs. We just ran last week our in-demand jobs, and we was running ads on them for people, occupational forecast if you need it, education and career training, career planning. One thing we need to point out to people, if we have on-the-job money for on-the-job training and apprenticeship training, that is where Jessica's going to come in here in a few minutes to talk about more about our pre-apprenticeship program. We have the WIOA money. So this is where we get some of the monies from to help and with our partners in our OMJs. And I'll talk about them in a minute to help us like upscale somebody, get their GED. Maybe they're out of school and never gotten a GED. So we help them get that. So the emerging workforce youth, we give them guidance. We advise them. We work with students from 9th to 12th grade. We work with out of school youth. There's actually out of school youth and school youth. So we help them find their jobs. Easter Seal is one of the people that actually got our youth contract. And so we work with them and helping them find jobs or get internships or special grants out there. Maybe they're not 18 yet, but they want to enter this job and they're not 18 yet. So they work with them to find them the money to kind of help get them till they turn 18. Businesses. So most of you guys on here are probably a business or employer. We haven't left you out. You're important to us. You can post a job or you can search candidate resumes through our websites and through us, contacting our local OMJs. Schedule a hiring event. Maybe you would like to, you don't have a place to do it. Our OMJs are a perfect place to do it. Employer training programs and incentives. We have those for you. We can get you Ohio labor market information. Find your next location. Maybe you are growing and you've outgrown the building you're in and you need to go somewhere else. Meet up with us. We can get you with Ready Cincinnati or the economic development of your area, somebody to help get you to where you can grow. And then being with us, we can help you with obtaining the employees that you may need, or at least giving you a good start on it. Apprenticeship, on-the-job training, and incumbent worker training. Again, all stuff that you can do with being a business with us. Then workforce reduction. Say you're unfortunate and you have a big layoff coming up. We can help you with that. So just contact us, make sure that we're in the know, and we can help guide you and guide your employees to a better place. So I talked about we have to have required partners. So the OMJ has certain partners that they have, or certain people that they work, their staff. But along with their staff, we have Aspire, which helps with adult education and literacy, help them get that GED. Second Chance, housing, Job Corps, seniors, food stamps, TANF, unemployment insurance, veterans. Again, we have a partner there that strictly helps with veterans, Ohio's with Disability, and then Wagner Pizer. So those are the required partners we have to have. I'm done pretty much with my part. I'm telling you guys what a WIB is, how a WIB works. My contact information is there. If you have any questions at any time that you would like to ask, feel free to reach out, and I would gladly answer your question or get you in the right place to answer the question. Now, the second part of our presentation is going to be from Jessica Dean. So the pre-apprenticeship grant is something that we applied for and got, and we've sub-granted it out to Easter Seals, who's done a phenomenal job on getting students enrolled, going out and setting up the students. We have 33 enrolled at the present time. Our goal was 48 in a 2-year period. We're not even a year into this, and we have 33. So I don't want to steal any more of her thunder. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for just a minute and bring up her presentation. Take it away, Jessica.
Good morning. Thank you, Becky. So I'm going to maybe do just a little bit of a recap, just to let you have a little bit of an understanding of what the grant is. So as Becky was saying, this grant belongs to the Area 12 Workforce Investment Board. Easter Seals is just a subrecipient of that grant. And what we're doing is we're going into local high schools, helping them develop a pre-apprenticeship program. And then we're also connecting to registered apprenticeship employers within the community. And we are creating learning opportunities and experiences and exposures for our high school students so that upon graduation, they'll be able to transition directly into a registered apprenticeship program. We're really trying to work hard to minimize that gap between high school and employment. And so this program is looking at individuals who are not on the college pathway, students who have aptitude and have a willingness to learn. And so that's just kind of a general overview. So a little bit of information on this grant. We were awarded this in July 2021. It's a 2-year grant. It goes until June 2023. The grant was designed to grow within its area. So as Becky was saying, the initial grant proposal was saying that we were going to enroll 48 individuals over the course of 2 years, with our objectives outcome being that half of those individuals would transition into a route. We've already exceeded that. When we started to develop this in the community, we had just an abundance of interest from schools, but also employers. And so right now we're planning ahead for our next academic year. So we will definitely exceed that 48 enrollment number. So what we did, just a little bit of background, was we were given the opportunity to create these pre-apprenticeship tracks in about 16 different industries. And so what we did was we started to speak to schools, get a better understanding of what school needs were and where they saw their students going and what the students were saying in terms of career pathway interest. And then we also at the same time started to reach out to registered apprenticeship programs within our area and look at the employers that we had, and so that we could kind of identify, what the need for this area really was. And what we found was that there was an abundance of interest in the construction pathway, as well as manufacturing and information technology. So what we were doing was we were allowing schools to identify one industry track just to pilot this experience within their school, with the intent, again, that we were going to grow this out and be able to offer additional opportunities and additional industries in the upcoming years. Next slide, please. So that's just a general overview. What I'd like to do now is just to do a little employer spotlight and talk a little bit about what this looks like. So what we did was we partnered with Festo, which is a manufacturing company, and Festo they have a wrap, and what they did was they looked at their wrap curriculum and they scaled it down so that we were able to offer a 10-week, 10-day pre-apprenticeship exposure on site in their learning labs with 14 participants. Those participants ended up coming from Claremont and Warren County. That's because at this time we're still working on getting Butler County schools connected. So if you're affiliated with a Butler County school, please reach out to us and we'd love to talk about this exposure. So this was what Festo did was they did a combination of learning lab, instructional learning in a classroom. And once participants learned a new topic, they went directly into like a hands-on lab and they implemented what they learned. And so they focused on bionics, pneumatics, sensory technology, metronics, and then Fluid SMP software, which is them programming something into a computer and then activating it, and then the machine actually doing it. Participants also received tours of the facility. They were able to interact with Festo employees, partners of Festo. The HR director came down. And so they were getting that experience of what it looks like to be a potential employee within a company. Next slide, please. So as we move
Did it
through
go
the
for you? 'Cause it's not going for me on.
No, it didn't change.
Okay.
But as
There you go.
you're working on that. So the following slides are just demonstrations of what actually happened on site at Festo. So in the pictures on the left, what you're seeing is students actually building this bionics fish. Festo does something where they look at nature and they look at different elements in nature that they feel might be useful, and then they try to figure out how they can bring that into their factories to be more efficient. And so, for example, one of the options were for them to build almost like an elephant trunk. And this elephant trunk has this special capability to hover over fragile objects and kind of suck the object up into its claws. And it helps to keep things from breaking. It helps with handling sensitive objects, things like that. They actually use that in their factory. And they got it from studying nature. And so the bionics fish is what the participants decided to create. So they actually built it. And then they did different things. As you can see, it's swimming. They did different races where they were able to program the fish to swim faster or slower. They did races. They had situations where they had to like do real life problem solving. Like if the water is rough, you know, how do you want to program the fish? You know, different things like that. That was really exciting that they got to do that. Next slide. So this is just an example of what the hands-on skill piece was looking like. So students would go into the skills lab, and you can see I'm not a manufacturing expert, I'll just be honest about that, but in the first slide they're working with different types of circuits. You can see down in, it's the bottom middle slide, they're working with pneumatics. They're using tubes, and they're connecting one tube to the next tube, and they're allowing the airflow to pass from one device to the next device. The image of the young man with the computer on his lap, he's using the software to actually program what's on that table right there. So they really were getting this very unique overview of what it would be like to be in manufacturing and to be in a wrap, because this is, like I said, this is the curriculum that they scaled down from their current wrap curriculum. And so that's my presentation on this one snapshot of our manufacturing cohort at Festo. This is a picture of all of our participants. And I just want to note, like, this is just one of our amazing employers. We have employers in the construction pathway who've allowed participants to participate in internships. We've had electrical workshops for individuals interested in being an electrician. We've had participants go down to the tool bank and do hands-on construction and learn the 101 basics and fundamentals of different hand tools and power tools. So we do have a lot of really incredible employers. At this time, anybody who's on the call, we're always open to connecting to new employers. If you have an existing wrap, that's wonderful. We'd love to have a conversation with you. If you don't have an existing registered apprenticeship program, this hub has the ability to either help you create your own registered apprenticeship program or connect to an existing one in the community. This is a grant that focuses on Butler, Claremont, and Warren County. We are able to reach out and work with employers outside of that county, just as long as it's a commutable distance for the participants. Otherwise, it wouldn't really, logistically, it just wouldn't make sense. And in terms of schools that might be interested, schools do need to be within the Butler, Claremont, and Warren County radius. Everyone who participates in terms of students need to be a resident of those counties. So that's all I have. Becky, if I missed something, please fill in my gaps.
No, I think you've done a wonderful job, Jessica, which she always does. She's taken this program and ran with it, and she's done a phenomenal job with it. She's got a person that helps her now, Juliana Witt. And I just want to reiterate to you guys that if you think you want to, as a business, we have to think outside the box anymore on what we're doing. COVID has changed a lot of things for a lot of people, working remotely, needing employees. I was in a meeting the other day that if we took everybody off of unemployment, there would still be 3 jobs to every employee out there. So the employee shortage is not going to go away, even if we take everybody off of unemployment. So now we have to rethink or recreate how we think we want to do things. COVID has taught us that we need to be thinking outside the box with hiring people in the trades. Not everybody is college bound. Trust me, if I go to a doctor, I want them to have a college education. I'm not against college education, but some students really, or youth, or, they need to go on a career path of trades, and that's what this opportunity is offering. We can offer from both ends of the scale. And then we've got people right in the middle who, well, I'm not real sure where I want to go. Please, that's what we're here for. That's what we want you guys to understand. That's what our workforce is for. But we need to think outside all of the baby boomers, I guess you could say, retired, we knew it was coming. A lot of them was in trades, and it really affected us hard on the trade side. So that's why this is so important. And if you've got a business that runs with trades, or you're manufacturing, because that's big in our area, please get with us. We can help you with pre-apprenticeship. We can help you with internship. We can help you with all different ways to do it. With this registered apprenticeship, students graduating now have to have 12 extra points. And if they go through this pre-apprenticeship program, they get those points. So, there's so much involved with going through this. It's good for the student and good for the employer, because you're going to get somebody that is dedicated. We have students that are, they're wanting to hire them right away. You know, we've got one that is on hold because it's manufacturing, because the state law says they have to be 18 in order to go into the manufacturing. This company is holding the position for this student so that as soon as they turn 18, they can put them on their pay. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. If you need something from Jessica, she can either put her information in the chat or contact me. I've had my information up there. Contact me and I will make sure to get it to Jessica. And thank you, Dan and Greater Hamilton Chamber, for letting us speak and present what we have been doing for the WIC.
All right, anybody have any questions for Jessica or Becky? A lot of good information, a lot of resources here, and hopefully we can help you find some other people to utilize all your resources.
So I have a question. You kind of covered it, but let's kind of go over it again. If somebody's interested in any of these programs or getting involved, what is the easiest way for them to do that without just going on the website and figuring it out for themselves?
Shoot me an email. Explain to me what you would like to be part of, and I will have that person reach out to you. So you want something in pre-apprenticeship, you've reached out to me and say, hey, I think I want to become a registered apprenticeship, company, a RAP. Great. I will make the connection for you to Jessica. Jessica will reach out to you. There's no more steps than that. She's with you now. She's your person. The last thing I want to do, everybody is doing multiple jobs. So the last thing I want you guys to have to do is have to go to a website and click here, click here, click here, click here before you get something. Quick email to me. If you're in Butler County, I'll get you with Amy Miller. If you're in Warren, I'll get you with Matt Fetty. If you're in Claremont, I'll get you with Daphne. So there's people out there that can help you. Maybe you do like to click on the computer and don't really want to send an email. Go ahead and click. We've got stuff listed on our website, bcwworkforce.com.
Yeah, and in terms of how the pre-apprenticeship program functions, that should always be the expectation, which is you reach out and then someone from the program ushers you through the process and is always your point person. The hub functions as that centerpiece between the schools and the employer, providing all of that communication and coordination and follow through. And so the process should be, for the most part, seamless. Like if you're not sure, like you have somebody to reach out to, they can assist you. But it's not meant for schools if schools want to go out and find their own employers, that's fine. But we're meant to kind of do all of that work piece, and we're meant to go into the schools and find the talent for the employers. We're trying to bridge that gap and to take some of that work off of both of these entities in the community.
It's a good question, Dan. Does anybody else have any questions for us? Well, like Jessica said, we are needing some Butler County schools. We don't want to leave them, just Warren and Claremont doing these great things with the pre-apprenticeship. We'd like to have Hamilton County schools on with us. So if you're from a Hamilton County school, or you've got a kid that goes to Hamilton County school and would like, think this is really cool, talk to your schools about it and get with us. We really want to make the connection across the board. This is a grant that's going to continue to grow. We've been fed the information that this is a 2-year cycle, and then there'll be another 2-year cycle. The state has just put out where they're doing an ABA grant where we're a pre-apprenticeship hub where you become a RAP or a registered apprenticeship hub. And there's people out there that's doing, connecting that way. And so all these businesses, instead of being their own registered apprenticeship, would just link to that hub. And then you would already have all the resources that you need. So the state is definitely, and the federal government, Department of Labor is definitely changing the mindset and thinking Pre-apprenticeship is probably where we need to be heading, along with college and military. I mean, there's typically 3 pathways you take when you go out of school. You either go to college, you go into the service, or you go into a trade. And I think it's important that we change the mindset that everybody has to go to college and then they graduate with a degree and $100,000 in debt, or they can go into a trade and learn that trade, making upwards of $30, $35 an hour, you know, when they're starting out, and no debt. And like I said, this isn't, no way am I saying that people shouldn't go to college, because there's people that that's just what they're meant to do, is go to college. But I don't think we should be forcing this youth or the people that don't have the mindset for college, or, you know, I don't want to set them up for failure by sending them to college. And this is just another avenue that they can go in to help them get a good paying job.
I have another question.
Mhm.
What is the thing that people discover most where they say, I had no idea you did that or could help me with that? And, you know, you're like often surprised they didn't know that.
On the business side,
Yeah.
making the connections,
On the
you know, yeah, on the business side, it's like, I didn't know we could come to your OMJ Center and we could do a trade fair with you. I didn't know. I thought that was something we had to do on our own. We've been posting. This is the way I look at it. The OMJs, the WIB, so that's the Ohio Means Jobs, and the Workforce Development Board are your Indeeds. So if you've got a work need, call us. That's what our jobs are. We're just like the best kept secret. And I don't want to be the best kept secret anymore. I want people to know us. I want people to see us. I want people to say, oh, let me connect with them. Hey, I want to grow my business. Let me connect with them. You know, one phone call to me and I can get you hooked up with the people that you need to grow that business, to be finding a new spot. People don't realize that, because the WIB is, they look at it as a government run program, and we're government funded, but we're here to help you. I've been going out and trying to come up with, so the WIOA money, that's, you know, restricted money. We can only use it for certain areas. But it doesn't say that as a workforce development board, I can't go out and get money that's non-restricted, that we can use for advertising, we can use for different ways. And trust me, I've been trying my best to go out and get that non-restricted money, because all that's going to do is help businesses and employees connect a lot quicker and a lot easier. Because now we've removed even more barriers, the barriers of having the restricted money.
And I would just like to add, because that perfectly summed it up, Becky. But if you are an employer or a job seeker, you should contact your WIB if you have like an issue or a question, because even if there's not a program that directly meets your need or serves what you're looking for, these are workforce professionals, and they might be able to either give you some advice or point you into the direction of somebody who has had that lived experience, and you might be able to contact them. So generally just viewing them as a resource, I think, would be incredibly helpful to anybody in the community.
I think
We're your advocates. We're out there for you. I talk with the state, if not on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. So I'm constantly in contact with the state as to where the barriers are for businesses. So if you have a barrier that we can't meet, that's what I need to know about too, because then I can take that to the state and say, well, you know, we're getting ready to go to the state on the fact that kids graduate at 17 years old, but they can't go into manufacturing till 18. So we have this gap. I'm getting ready to go there because it's not good for the employer. And it's not, now we have a chance of losing this youth, you know, because they're not going to wait to go in. So one of the things next week I'm up in Columbus, and one of the things I'll be talking to them about is, hey, is there any way that we can change that ruling that when they graduate, whether they're 17 or 18, they can go into it? And I know a lot of it's insurance, and I know, you know, there's a lot of back stuff on all of that, but just trying to help get these. We don't want to lose them over the summer. They graduated at 17 and didn't turn 18 till September. We've lost them that whole summer. You know, Jessica and her team does a great job on doing follow-up, and that's what we have to do. We have to make sure we're doing follow-up on the youth. but we need to do follow up with the businesses also. We need to make sure the businesses are getting what they need and staying in contact with this business that's willing to wait for this student to come. So that's where we come in. We are your advocates. We can go to the federal government. We can go to the state government. We can ask for help and get you guys.
Becky, there's,
need.
if you're going to be in Columbus, and it's probably a bigger issue than just Columbus, but I was in a meeting last week and there was a whole conversation about a younger workforce and how many eager students there are who are like 15 and 16 that are, looking for jobs specifically in their area of study, and they may currently be in a technical school, technical high school like tech or something like that.
Right.
And these are, really smart young kids that want to work. And because the business has been told for so long, between lawyers and insurance companies, don't touch it, they have a very difficult time in finding jobs, even though the guidelines are pretty simple on, underage workers, but most employers won't touch them. And I understand that because they've been scared to death not to touch them. And, a lot of these students in trade schools that are not college bound, but are very clearly focused on what they want to do. And, we just had a situation ourselves where, very interesting, we had an intern here at the chamber who was college bound. He interned here at the chamber, and upon graduating at Butler Tech, he's going to start with like mid 60s a year in full benefits, because he has spent the last 4 years working in his area of interest. So he's had, many opportunities. We were just happened to be the last one. But what I found is we just had a job fair also a few weeks ago, and the kids that came through, I don't know what happened in a couple of years, but the 17 and 18-year-olds that came through, honestly, couldn't have cared less if they were there. The 14 and 15-year-olds that came through, I wanted to hire every one of them. So there's a drastic change in what's happened with these younger students in the past couple of years. So I'm sure everybody will want to blame it on COVID, but it was just amazing because the 15-year-olds interviewed extremely well. The 17-year-olds didn't even care if they were there. And, so it really kind of underscores this whole thing. I'll get off the soapbox, but it underscores this whole thing. There needs to be more education and more acceptance that there is a younger worker out there who is dying to go to work. And some of them are quite talented and quite dedicated.
And Dan, I'll reiterate what you're going with there. So the 17, 18, number one, that's age. You know what I mean? They're just at that point. But and COVID didn't help, because how did they interact with people? Through Zoom.
Right.
There was no interaction face to face. Your younger ones are starting to get the interaction face to face again. We were discussing this in a meeting yesterday with Easter Seals on job, doing job fairs or going to college or schools. And when they're getting ready to announce who's going to college, well, let's announce who's going to a trade school and who's going to military. And then you have your job fairs inside the schools where it's usually college people who are brought. Well, why can't we have two? Go ahead and do your college and do military and trades together. Have them come out and talk to us. But then you run into the problem like you're talking about, Dan. So they just wander around, All right, so let's make it a little more challenging or give them an ideal. So let's give them a punch card. And if they go around and they hit so many people, now they have to interact with you, right? Because they're going to come get that Tootsie Roll or that's whatever you have sitting on your table to attract them. And they have to interact with you, and you have to punch that card. So now there's been some actual interaction with these guys, and they're starting to learn, because a lot of them may not have that skill, that interaction skill. Then if you get so many punches on your punch card, maybe we give you, I don't know, a $5 McDonald's gift card or something like that. Or your name gets put into a drawing for something greater. Just incentive. Youth, along with adults, I don't care how old you are, if there's an incentive out there, you're going to go, oh, well, maybe I'll try that because I could get this for it. So just trying to, that's what I say as businesses, as the WIB, as chambers, as anybody out there, we got to start thinking outside the box. What is causing them to have that barrier? And then we need to go in and use creative ideals. And by the way, that was not my ideal. That comes from someone in Easter Seals. But we need to go out and do the interaction for them. Let them know that we're okay. Let them know that, hey, manufacturing is not your grandma and grandpa's manufacturing anymore. It's not a sweatshop with no windows, and you just saw a perfect example of manufacturing. And that was some of the coolest stuff that you can see, I just want people to realize, and then business needs to think about that. What is their barrier? We can help you with that too. What is causing things to be a barrier? Let us in there, let us evaluate it. Let us come in and look and go, where I see maybe this area should be more aesthetically pleasing. Simple things, it's stuff that catches the eye when you walk in that's going to get your people to stay. When I walk into something and it looks like an institution I'm walking into, I'm probably not even going to sign my name at the bottom. I'm going to walk out because that's not where I want to be. And
Becky,
that's where a lot of people
I have another question. Laura and I found this out a couple of years ago during our youth leader program, and it still remains true. The number one source that people, especially young people, use today to find a job is YouTube.
Right.
And do you guys have a presence on YouTube?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So our in-demand week, we ran little TikTok type videos, the in-demands. Just an example. One of them was a woman standing and she's dancing and she's doing her snaps, and every time she snaps her fingers, she goes to a construction worker, or she goes to an engineer, or she goes to just firefighter, different things, letting people know that we're women, but we can do different things. I asked them to take a step further, and one of the TikToks they do is have a guy, and when he snaps his finger or he does something in his dance, he becomes an STNA, he becomes a nurse, because I've had male nurses, I think they were great. Sometimes that's just, we need to break the stigma that you can only go into a certain area. I come from a construction background. My family does construction. My husband and I own our own excavation and dump truck service. So I understand where businesses are coming from. And when I say think outside the box, and I don't want you to go, yeah, sure, you're sitting on the other side. I'm not sitting on the other side. I'm actually on the side of businesses too, because I run a corporation and a business along with being at the web. So I understand your needs. I understand where you need employees from and how you need employees. We use specialty employees also. So I understand all of that. Chris, you had a question you was about to ask.
Well, just wanted to piggyback on the getting the younger workforce. There's an Ohio revised code that if you are in a career tech program, you can work in a manufacturing setting at 17. And I've been pushing that to all the local businesses that do not know that and need help getting that word spread. But I would love to also see, to your point, open that up to just to non-career tech folks that are 17. I think these surrounding companies are in the mindset that these are, and I've heard them say, well, we can't hire them. We don't have time to babysit. And I think that they look at these kids as the way it was back in the 70s or something, and as you've addressed, these kids are bright individuals. The other thing I'm really trying to push with these local companies is just to look at the job description. It just seems like it's an automatic template, high school diploma required. There are, as we all know, many, many jobs, just for instance, I was talking to a local hospital about that. And I said, there's transporters that just wheel the patient out to the lobby before leaving. Does that really need a high school diploma, or to deliver food to the patient rooms? And so then took a hard look and, like opened up 5 different positions. But getting that word out there to all surrounding companies, really look, you're limiting your workforce drastically by putting that high school diploma required.
And Jessica, I'm going to turn it to her because we got a good success story on that, where a student came in and he's the only reason he came to do the pre-apprenticeship because his buddies was doing it, right? So Jessica, I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, so we went around and we asked all of our participants, what made them want to sign up and participate in the manufacturing exposure. And I had a lot of participants say, like, I want a job out of this. But this one gentleman came and he was very honest and he said, I don't know what manufacturing is. I'm here because all my friends came and I wanted to get out of school. And so we were like, thank you for your honesty. And by the time that the end of the experience came, he was offered a job. Like, we're just waiting for him to turn 18. We are in the process in enrolling him in the WIOA youth program so that he'll be able to have a paid experience with Festo through the duration of the summer until he turns 18. That way he can continue to be engaged and he can continue to explore his interest and learn. That way this whole summertime isn't wasted. And I think that's just a testament to what having an exposure or a new experience can really do for someone. It can completely open their mind up and their eyes up to either something that they're interested in it, or a hidden talent. But it can also be useful and it can let somebody know, like, you know what, that's not for me. But, for this young man, it was the case of like, he's very interested. And since then, we do continue to provide exposures and tours to as many employers as we can. And he continuously is our young man who is always asking employers questions about being hired, what they're looking for, what the hours are, benefits package. I mean, it's just been incredible what that transition of you're a student versus treating him like a potential employee has really done for him and how he presents himself when he's in the community. And it's been a privilege to get to witness for him. But one thing that you were saying, Chris, when young adults or the emerging workforce, when they're in high school, if they are connected to some type of program and they can attest to that to an employer, I think that really does go a long way, because it takes some of the burden or some of the concern off the employer. So like for WIOA Youth, when we partner with employers, all of our employers know that if there is an issue or a concern, they can go to Jill, and that Jill will work with that youth and help the youth work through whatever is going on. And so they don't have to kind of carry all of this, like, well, this is a 17-year-old, this is an 18-year-old who doesn't have a lot of work experience. I don't have the time to invest in them. There is a whole program investing in them. Same way with the pre-apprenticeship program, same way with the OMJ has a young adults program as well. And having that support system and being able to present that to employers, I think creates a willingness to extend opportunities that maybe they weren't willing to extend before, because they don't have to do it alone. And that's the truth. We're a community and we're all trying to, figure this out and do it together. And that's really what the OMJ and Easter Seals is here to help with. And as we've spoken before, we do have youth programs that want to help facilitate that.
And Chris, like you said, we have some that's gone through the manufacturing, through the pre-apprenticeship, and decided manufacturing is not what they really want to do. They think maybe construction. So in that aspect, we flip-flop them right away and get them into construction. Seeing if construction's what they want. Our other pathway is IT at the present time. If they feel like they'd rather go IT because that just wasn't, it was cool that it was kind of IT at that manufacturing, but I was thinking more of doing programming on computers or something to that effect. Then we'll get them into an IT program. Or when they went in manufacturing, I thought it was the old sweatshop, whatever, but I really realized I want to be outside. So I want to do more construction. I want to do, you know, items like that. That's what we do. We get this youth. And then no matter which pathway they want, we're not trying to say you must be manufacturing, you must be construction. We're giving you the experience. We're giving you the chance to live it for a little bit and see if you even like it, because you may not like it. The other thing that you spoke of, Warren County Career Center is starting trying to get a program up and running. And I've spoke with them about this. And for businesses out there, again, another thing to think about is second chance. We want to do a program, or Warren County Career Center does, and has been works with us to go into like the low security jails, prisons, and say they're getting out in 2 years. Well, they can go through a program put on by us, put on by the Career Center, put on by somebody, to where they get a certificate or they get something when they come out. But what we need is businesses to be able to do a second chance. Now, I'm not saying that somebody was in there for arson should go into welding, because that's not a good fit, right? But there's no reason why, if they got in trouble for arson or not paying child support or something like that, that they couldn't go into a job in manufacturing, or they couldn't go into, you know, welding. It's one of our big areas that students are interested in. There's just so many opportunities in that class of people too, that we need to not leave them behind. A lot of chances is the reason they're where they're at is they never got that chance. And that's what, and you got to start that, like you're saying, at a young level. We talked up the state a couple of weeks ago. Let's start it at kindergarten. Hey, why don't we go to kindergarten registration? Mom, who's been home with the kids, I was a stay-at-home mom. When I put my kids in kindergarten, it's like, oh, well, now what do I do? Well, let's have presence there. Let's go there and say, hey, this place is looking for a job. This place is looking for a job. PTO meetings, you know, that's a good place. You want to get to the parents. You want to get to the parents for the kid, or you want to get to the parent because, hey, they may be looking for a job. Getting inside the school is where we need to be a lot of time, trying to get access to people. And just general knowledge. Nobody goes to college to be a WIB director, right? It's just not a track that you go for. And so that's why there's nobody that really knows what a WIB is or a workforce is, because there's no way to put it out there, no way to talk about it except in these forums. I want to get to schools and tell kids about it. I used to, when I was a trustee, I was trustee for 16 years. I went to the elementary schools. I told them I was a trustee, you know, I'm a woman trustee around a township. And they're like, wow, that's really cool. Well, you're going to be mayor next? Well, no, actually, I'm like a mayor right now because I'm sitting as president of the board in a township, and just kind of educating them how a township runs and how a municipality runs, and the state government's grandma and grandpa, and then you working it out into their language. And the amount of kids that I touched in that, I mean, they've come up to me years later talking to me about it. So it's talking to kids at a young age. I'll leave you with one last thing that really sticks out in my mind that we really got to get across. Is my 6-year-old granddaughter come to me and she said, hey, Ma, do you know that if you go to college, you get knowledge? If girls go to college, they get knowledge. And I said, really? I said, huh. Well, what about boys? And she goes, oh, well, boys go to college, they get knowledge too. I said, cool, good job, good job. I said, but now what if I don't want to go to college? What happens to me? And she thought about it for a minute. She goes, I guess you don't get knowledge. And that was it. And, you know, that's a 6-year-old thought about it. But that's the kind of thinking we've got to change. You know, well, why wouldn't I get knowledge? You know, why couldn't I go into a trade? You see your grandpa, he runs equipment. You know, that's a trade. He gets knowledge there. He has knowledge of that. So that's the kind of things we want to help change, and we want to get into schools, and we want to partner with businesses, and we want to try to get everybody where they need to be.
Well, Becky and Jessica, thank you so much for being with us today. A lot of great information. This will be on Facebook Live. This will go on our YouTube channel, so people can go back and resource it later. We will be back on May 24th we will have a guest speaker, Faraz Dabini with the Beanie Creations. He will be sharing about digital marketing in the 21st century and the importance of using video. So we'll be back 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on that Tuesday. We invite you all to come back again. And again, Jessica and Becky, thank you so much for being with us and sharing. They've got their info in the chat. So if you need anything else from them, please go ahead and contact them. We will be glad to help you out with connecting you with businesses. If there's ever anything you two need, feel free to contact us. We are here to be a resource for you, to be a connection.
Thank you. Thank you guys for inviting us. We greatly appreciate it. You can tell we're enthused and enthusiastic about what we talk about. So.
All right. Well, we'll see you all in a couple weeks.
Thank you all.